Hello YouTube, my name is Legend of DS and welcome to Season 2, Episode 11 of Can They Be DLC. Last episode we discussed the second Fighters Pack. This episode we're going to be discussing Professor Layton, and let's get on to it. Before then, obviously, the news. There really aren't any news this week. The only news I think, and I think it's from last week, I don't remember if I commented or not, was Hero getting banned in South Australia. I think it's a dumb ban. You could say that he's anti-competitive. All I'm going to say is that if you think the character is anti-competitive, then you shouldn't be playing Smash Bros. Because Smash Bros. Was not designed to be competitive. Heck, the most competitive Smash game was a game that accidentally was competitive. So, I think that the only reason to ban a character should not be because of how random they are, it should be because of how good they are. And given that the Smash community did not ban Meta Knight or Bayonetta, I think this doesn't warrant a ban, and from everything that I've heard, there's other fighting games that also have characters that can also one-hit kill you. And I think that saying that the character can one-hit kill you is enough to remove the character from competitive play. My opinion, it's stupid. But that's my opinion. I guess I'm not a competitive player, so my opinion doesn't matter. All it matters is the opinion of Layton, which seems to be the only guy that seems very much against it that plays Ultimate. And you know, all I'm also going to say on this topic is, I don't think Layton has done it, but a lot of people that are supporting the ban, unlike most players, are using a lot of cherry picking in clips to remove the character. But if you watch, what was it, Yeet Smash, I think, funniest fails, and it has a bunch of hero fails from tournaments and very recent tournaments and events and people playing it, just like, you know, you can top deck Magic Burst, but Magic Burst is only good in like a few situations. But whatever. I'm gonna say also in the ban, outside of power, the only good reason to ban a character is if the character, like Hero, it would be the language barrier for Hero, which I'm gonna say there's a couple solutions for that. Either A, every community agrees on one language to play, or B, I would, if that's the case, on A, I would say English, given that most people already can learn English or know English or a little bit of English. But even if you don't want to go with that, of people learning the language, then let me just tell you this. Then play on your region, whatever language you want. All I'm going to counter that with is, if that's the case, and if you don't want to learn Hero or the spells in the country that you're going to go to, then don't go to it. I'm sorry to say, it sounds horrible, but if you're Japanese and you go to America to play the game, learn a little bit of English. Just like if you were to go to Japan from any of the other country and you don't speak Japanese, learn a little bit of Japanese so you're going to play the hero or against the hero. Even if it's not because of not even just because of the character. If you're going to go to a country, learn a little bit of the language. Please. Even the minimum amount should be. And it's 21 spells, I think. You can memorize that. I know people are going to say it's too much work to go for it, for one matchup that might not happen. But hey, it's learning the matchup. And fighting games already are all about patterns, so I'm just saying. But anyway, other news, not other news, but other news is that we might be getting a direct soon. A bunch of SKUs are appearing on GameSpot for Nintendo and for the Switch. So a direct might be coming. Speculation is on the 5th, which is one of the dates that I mentioned or thought about for the direct. I said 5th and 12th being it. I thought 12th was more likely because I could see a Monster Hunter game being announced for Switch there, but that's during TGS, so there's no way in hell they're doing it during that time period. So it's probably going to be on the 5th. We might see Character 4 there. I think actually we're going to see Character 4 there, unless Nintendo decides to do a Nintendo Direct specifically for Smash in like October or November. And we are hearing rumblings that not only is Halo coming to the Switch, I know what Microsoft said, I don't buy into it. I mean, if you ask Nintendo 2 weeks before they revealed the Lite, if they were putting any revisions for the Switch, they wouldn't. They would say like, we have no plans to revise the Switch, because, you know, not only that, it's like WWE card, when they announce something, they always say card subject to change, because a myriad other things could happen. Like, that's not what they're actually going for and they're lying to you, or somebody can get injured and, you know, the card has to change. So I always look at PR statements like that in a very much like WWE of like, card deck is subject to change, plans are subject to change, things will change no matter how we look at it. And I think that's 100% what's going to happen. Cards, it's not in the plans, but also it was misquoted because Microsoft said we're not companies like Obsidian that they bought, or not Bleeding Edge, forget the name of the studio that they purchased recently. They have games that come out, or Ninja Theory that had games come out on the Switch or the PS4. They will not in the future were releasing those games day to day. Like Otherworld is coming, I believe, on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and I believe also the Switch at the same time, meaning in the future that won't happen. But once the game's out, the group if the people want to do it, they will do it. I think like Ori 2 or Ori and the Will of the Wisps will come for the Switch eventually, like a year or two after it launches on the Xbox One. But anyway, let's get on to the topic of this video after roughly 6 minutes of talking about something else, and it's Professor Layton, and can he be DLC for this season of Smash or for this Super Smash Brothers? Well, here's the thing. I don't think we are actually going to see him. Although Professor Layton is a fan-requested character, is a historic character, has been around for a while, and would arguably be Level 5's mascot, things have taken a turn in the last couple of years. First is that now we have more third parties to choose from when it comes to asking for characters. Professor Layton was very much in the discussion for Smash 4, mostly because there wasn't a lot of room to, discuss when it came to third parties. What companies could we discuss that could be getting a character during Smash 4 time? You had Konami, Sega, Square, maybe if you were lucky, Konami, if you were lucky, Tecmo, which never got anything, Namco, and Level 5. And I think that's about it from the companies. You could always speculate on companies from America, but it never really happened, and until Banjo-Kazooie, we never had actually a third-party character in Smash that was made in the West. Although, technically speaking, it would have been different had Microsoft never bought Rare, because most likely than not, Banjo-Kazooie would have been one of the newcomers in Brawl. And possibly, if Microsoft never purchased Rare, maybe they would have been second party. We don't know. The timeline is weird. We're living in a different timeline. So Professor Layton in the past, like 5 years ago, had a good chance. People talked about him, they were happy, it was a possibility. But not only did the paradigm shift when it came to third parties, because now we do have the possibilities of third parties coming from the West, other Japanese third parties, and more characters. Now, like, look, during Smash 4 speculation, the idea of a Square character was insane. Even during DLC, now we have two. The idea of Capcom having more characters, or having, after Mega Man, having more characters seemed weird, and now they have, technically speaking, they have 3. Konami returning seemed weird, and now Konami has 3. And that's not even looking into the fact that these companies could get more, and have a lot of characters that could be from Square, from Capcom, from Konami. We still don't have, from Sega too. We still haven't seen Namco get a second rep. We haven't seen Tecmo Koei getting a rep. And Professor Layton has lost a lot of space. Not only has he lost a lot of space within the Japanese third-party realm, because of the Switch, the Western side has opened up a little bit. We now have basically every single Doom game under the sun on the Switch. We have Skyrim on the Switch. We have we now are going to have The Witcher coming to Switch, which won't mean and will never mean Geralt from the game coming to Smash, just because he's not a video game character. I know he's very popular because of video games, but he is a book character. Maybe if there's any characters created specifically for the game, or like if The Witcher 4 is a completely brand new original story, maybe, but you know, fourth party characters don't get in. But you know the drill. And not only that, now that we have Microsoft in, we have, or a Microsoft character, it opens the door for the rest of Microsoft. You have, obviously we don't have a lot from Microsoft itself right now. We're gonna have possibly a multitude of things. You have now the open door for Rare. Before, wanting Banjo, wanting Joanna Dark, wanting Killer Instinct, wanting Conquer, wanting the Battletoads. Any one of these seemed like a far-fetched idea, and Banjo was the only one people actually talked about. So Professor Layton had a long history of being there. Him, much like another Capcom character in Phoenix Wright, were held to a higher esteem, let's put it that way, throughout a long time as some of the most recognizable third-party exclusive characters, basically, to the Nintendo systems and to the Nintendo ecosystem, and some of the biggest. Even though they were niche characters and the games didn't sell into the multi-millions, they were very, very well known, very respected, and very liked, and appeared a lot on Nintendo Direct. Nowadays, like Professor Layton hasn't had the game in a while. I think they released one for the Switch that I believe is just in Japan yet. But we haven't heard much from it to the West. Same thing with Phoenix Wright. The trilogy came out and Nintendo gave it no passing look. And another thing that Layton has very much now against it is, again, between the launches, between the speculation of Smash 4 and now, Level 5 created and destroyed a sales juggernaut in Yokai Watch. As before, Layton was basically the Level 5 character on Nintendo systems. Now he isn't. There's a new kid on the block that, again, was killed by Level 5, milking that franchise dry in Yokai Watch, and now Layton has lost a lot of its well-knownness and requestness. However, that doesn't mean he will never show up in Smash. I wouldn't be shocked if a Level 5 character got in, if he was a Mii costume, if he was a Spirit. I wouldn't be shocked if the next Smash game, depending on how long in development it is. I think that, again, starting from Fighters Pack 2, that would lead into the next not the next DLC, to the next game with 3 to 4 years of development. Building off of Ultimate, we could have a lot of brand new characters. Think about this one for a second. Ultimate did not just add, what was it? 5 new, no, wait, it was Inkling as brand new characters. Inkling, Ridley, King K. Rool, Simon, Isabel, and Incineroar was 6. I could be missing one. Technically speaking, we could add later on like Piranha Plant and stuff, but it was 6 characters. But then it added as brand new characters then Chrom, Daisy, Richter, and Ken, unless I'm missing someone, as Echo. So it was 10 brand new characters, 10 brand new characters as a whole. But to the engine, Snake, Squirtle, Ivysaur, Pichu, and who else? I don't think anybody else. I think there was those 4. Young Link, so 5. Old characters made, or Wolf, 6. So 6 brand new characters, 6 old characters that were cut, unless I'm forgetting somebody. And the roster is huge, I might be. Plus the Echoes. So it was a pretty big roster overall in terms of characters returning and new. So, and that was accomplished in basically 2 years. I don't want to imagine how crazy the Smash game would have been if the DLC with the entire team was still working on it for another year or 2. So that's why I'm thinking another, like a 3rd year or 4th year for development would greatly improve Smash Ultimate. Or even just getting the team already back together, work on the DLC and take the DLC as a step to the next game. I think will be a very good idea. Or working on the DLC would help build the next characters coming, or the characters coming to Smash. And if that's the situation, we could think of like maybe assuming that the next Smash game would get the same number of brand new characters. That would be 12 plus 4 Echoes. Professor Layton alongside Phoenix Wright and Mr. Travis Touchdown would be perfect characters to fit right in there with the third parties that are not popular enough to be or paid DLC and exclusive DLC, but are popular and well known enough where they could be included and nobody would bat an eye. I think that for DLC you need characters that have an impact. Joker, for example, is the smallest character in the DLC as of right now, in terms of not just because of how Persona sold, because Persona is about the same level as Banjo-Kazooie as terms of sales data for Persona 5, but it's because of its current relevant character. Persona is a big character, a big franchise right now. It's becoming bigger, but let's be completely honest. Let's imagine this. If the Smash DLC had begun with Hero and Banjo-Kazooie, and Joker was the 3rd or 4th character, I don't think I don't think the hype for it would be what it is now. Joker benefited a lot from being number 1 because of the shock value. It would still have shock value for sure if Joker came out, but it would have been the 3rd character, right after another Square character, which most people were already not looking at it, and Banjo and Kazooie, a character that before the entire Nintendo Microsoft thing, that seemed pretty likely after Cuphead came to the Switch, to be fair, alongside the other rumors, became a bigger deal, something that we didn't see before. Now it was happening. So Joker would have lost a lot of its, this would have been a surprise, it would have been shocking, but it would have not been as high, I think, as before, because before, again, we had, before we would have had another Square character and Banjo-Kazooie, characters that seemed very unlikely for it. So yeah, and I think that's for DLC, that's what it needs. So Layton, while recognizable and well known by us, the fans, the hardcores, the ones that are there, or for the more fans of the niche things, and a character that even the most casual people that don't know really Nintendo all that well would probably know him alongside Phoenix Wright, but it's still one of those things of like, in the grand scheme of things, he's very much underwhelming, let's put it that way, and I don't think he would cause the hype of other characters such as Shantae, for example, or Crash. And I've thought about this, and I've seen other people agree with this. It's like, next character is gonna plateau the hype. It's not gonna be a character. They're not gonna make 4 increase the hype. It's gonna plateau the hype. It's not gonna surpass Banjo and Kazooie. It's gonna plateau the hype, keep the hype at a good level, and then character 5 will either be a big shock, which I think it will be, but then again, it all depends on what character 5 is. And I still think we're gonna get a Smash exclusive direct, maybe in December, maybe in November. Right now December doesn't have any games, but there is speculation about a potential smaller game launching in December, so maybe we could see like a game in the early December, then mid-December we have a Smash direct, like the final Smash presentation all those years ago, and then like during the presentation like, oh, by the way, we are revealing one more character, and it's Geno, and it's the character for Fighters Pack 2, and I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, that'll be it for the Layton part, and I think I spoke more about other characters than I did with Layton, and for that I apologize, but you know, there's a lot of context in some of the things I've tried to say. Hopefully it came out alright. But anyway, let's get on to the comment section from the previous video from Can It Be DLC Fighters Pack 2. But first things first, before we get to that, very interesting prediction that I made for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate when we didn't even know it was just Smash Bros. Smash Bros. For Switch back in January, I think. This is either January 2018 or December 2017 that these came out, late December or early January. My Smash Bros. Predictions, and it was for the Kid Icarus, Fire Emblem, and Xenoblade episode, because I combine a lot of things together, predicting what could be for Smash Ultimate and what would become Smash Ultimate. And we had 2 comments from Tess Icarus saying first and LOL, and I don't even know what the LOL is for. And I don't even remember what I said in that video, but I think I should go back and watch some of those older videos, although I don't really particularly like to hear my own voice. That's why sometimes these videos are not that edited. When I wish I could do more editing. It's mostly because I don't like hearing myself. That's the thing. Like if you watch my watch the Inevitable Steve video with the edit for the Avengers, that took me about an hour or 2 to edit, and it was longer than it actually ended up being the original edit, because it was blocked worldwide by Disney, so I had to cut part of it out. But still, I had a lot of fun editing that, but it's the fact that I don't really like to hear my voice. That's why I cut on the editing, because I'm like, I can't stand you. And I know a lot of other YouTubers are like that. But anyway, moving on and getting to the comments for the last video, starting with Terry Servenson. Not only do I think we should get a second Fighters Pass, but I think we will get a second Fighters Pass. I think we will get Geno, Edelgard, Dixie Kong, Elma, and Croaky's final evolution, whatever that ends up being. I think the reason why your Shantae video is getting so many views is because Shantae is becoming very popular, and everyone who is a fan of Shantae, regardless if they're old and a new fan, wants Shantae to get into Smash Ultimate as a playable fighter. In regards to Professor Layton, I could only see him getting in as a Mii costume. So I agree with the Mii costume thing, depending on how DLC is gonna work. If we start getting random costumes, we didn't get that yet. Smash 4 had it, we haven't gotten that yet. We only gotten with characters and for a specific series. Let's see, you have, Gino, Edelgard, Dixie, Elma, and Groke. You have 5 characters there for it. Interesting choice of characters. I don't think we have to see what Groke's final evolution is. Right now I am an Obstagoon stan. I'll stand for that character as a Smash Ultimate DLC, but it could happen. Groke actually depends on who becomes the chosen one by the Pokemon Company to be the mascot of the generation. One thing I'll say is that I think Fighters Pack 2, and I said it in the previous video, I think they're gonna go with 5 characters plus Geno and maybe some Echoes, because like you have to sell for first party characters, and a lot of these characters, although I would lose my mind and probably you would as well, a lot of people wouldn't care for, especially like a character like Elma and Dixie. Dixie might have a lot more hype than Elma, but Elma is like, Xenoblade Chronicles X was a Wii U game unless they make the port. But I will say, when it comes to your characters, although Edelgard will be cool and she would be the redacted, I cannot say that because spoilers, in terms of Smash Brothers, she would have a very special place in Smash. I don't think they will go with Edelgard because that's picking a side basically. And we can say like, oh, they also pick a side in Pokemon when they give us one Pokemon to represent the generation in terms of the starters. But this is different because the entire marketing for Pokemon is never who your starter is. Which starter are you going to choose? Who is the starter? In Fire Emblem 3 Houses, they very much went with which house are you going to choose? Which path are you going to play with? So it feels very much like choosing Edelgard or Dimitri or Claude will be very much choosing a side, although Edelgard, once again, would be very interesting because of spoilers, and more spoilers. But still, yeah, Dixie and Elma, I would say that Elma, I think Rex would take precedent because Rex not only is a Mii costume, he's a character that Sakurai wanted to put in the game. And I think it could be very interesting with the whole 3 characters coming in, and he would bring an Echo with him if they should choose to do for Shulk with Malos, should they choose a Fighters Pack with more Echoes. And I think Elma has a spot, very possible spot for Xenoblade for the next Smash, because I think the next game that the team at Monolith are working on is a new IP, and I think that Xenoblade Chronicles X is going to get a port, so I think X2 is going to launch around the time, will launch around the time of the next system, and Elma benefits, unlike Rex, which are screwed by timing. Even if Xenoblade Chronicles X launches around a month after the next Smash game, she could get in because she already has a personality. The problem with characters launching around the time of Smash or when the schedule is so tight is because Sakurai and his team will have to create their own personality for the character, like Roy, and then Roy ends up being character ends up being different from Smash to their own games, where Roy basically is an OC in Smash. Yeah, it's a character that is from Fire Emblem, and he plays in Fire Emblem, and he appears in Fire Emblem, but the characters, both characters are very different when it comes to one game and the other. And yeah, personally I think Gino will be the extra character, and we will get another 5 characters, maybe with Echoes, and right off that into the next Smash game, which could be Ultimate 2. And then Obese Rob said, Professor Layton, I'm not sure because there are other characters that feel his niche. Want a level 5 character, Jibanian, I don't know how to pronounce that character because I never played Okai Watch. Want a visual nuzzle puzzle character that's also into crime solving, Phoenix Wright. If you're running out of characters to do episodes on, you could do Neko from The World Ends With You. That's a pretty interesting topic. And my most wanted, well, here's the thing. I've been trying to keep myself away from characters from companies that already had DLC. So Square Enix and Sega are completely out because I'm like, we could do it, but I don't think they're gonna be DLC because they already have characters. The only company I could see getting a second character is Microsoft, and they already themselves feel very much unlikely. Unless it's Master Chief, and unless Halo comes to the Switch, I don't see that happening. And the Neko from The World Ends With You, although it would be interesting, I think, right now I hate to say this, but I think there's a character that supersedes it in inevitability, and that's Sora. And yes, Sora would be a Disney character. It's also kind of represents Square Enix, and I believe Square still owns some rights. I don't remember. I don't know exactly what they own, how the rights go, but I remember the guy from the Disney VP saying that Square also would have to be part of the negotiations of something. I forget how it was it. So it would be a third Square character, and even then, Neko is cool and people would want it. Some people want it, like yourself. I think that like Chrono Trigger or Chrono from Chrono Trigger would supersede it because of, you know, legacy character that people really enjoy and want to see there. So I think it kind of ranks like third. No, not third, because then you also have Lara Croft that I just remembered from Square. So it gets buried basically, like Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright also suffers from has too many franchises ahead of it. For DLC. For base game, I think Neko and Phoenix could make it in, much like Travis Touchdown and Layton, but they get the whole thing of like other franchises in their own companies are much bigger and would make a lot, like for DLC, would make a lot more money, and that's what Nintendo is gonna go for. Obviously, that's why I think they would go with the second Fighters Pack with first party, with Echoes, because they know it's harder to sell to people first party, because first party doesn't bring the shock and the hype levels. Yeah, like we're all gonna get hyped for Rex if he happens. Maybe people will get pretty pissed off at Fire Emblem on forums and on YouTube and Twitter, but most people would not care. But with third parties, just the shock of some of these characters, the shock of finally getting Banjo-Kazooie and the shock of Joker were enough, so you know that counters it a little bit. Neko, I think, although it would, I mean, yeah, sure, it will be one of the most shocking inclusions, it would also be one of the least known and more niche. So base game definitely could be a character, but as DLC, I think I'm gonna try, like, the character already is, or a company already is in the game. Then if this had been before the Hero and E3, I would have done an episode on Neko. I know I don't know much about the game on the series, but it would have been very likely I would have done an episode. But now, with Square already being in with two characters and one of them just coming out, it seems very much unlikely. But hey, everything's possible. Then again, I also think Gino can be a DLC pick, for an extra DLC pick, so what do I know? But anyway, that'll be it for this video, and although I was running out of ideas, and I still kind of am, I kind of, technically speaking, have two in mind. So the first one will be next episode, which will be going, technically speaking, back to the indies, and at the same time, technically speaking, going to Microsoft. But next week, we discuss Cuphead. So anyway, been The Legend of DS. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.